Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 11th Sensitive Skin Beer Virus reading, the smart reading series with the stupid name. So all of these readings have been up on, YouTube. This one will be up in a couple of days. And it's called the Beer Virus reading, well, for obvious reasons, but also, for SEO purposes. And you can go on YouTube and search for Beer Virus reading, and you'll find us pretty quick. Yeah, check out our YouTube channel. We've got a ton of stuff. I just put up a video the other day that I found recently that's really great from August 1992. It's got Carl Watson and Joel Rose, Darius James, John Ferris getting heckled by Steve Cannon, and Herbert Huncke. So that's pretty cool if you want to check that out. Reading from the ancient days, back when sensitive skin was called peau sensible. Anyway, yeah, please check out our website, sensitiveskinmagazine.com. And everybody who's reading here tonight is well represented on the site. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, art, music, all sorts of cool stuff. We post 2-3 new pieces per week usually. What else did I want to say? So tonight's reading is, our readers are Maggie Dubris, Bill Considine, and maybe, just maybe, Andrei Codrescu, if he shows up. I did want to say that a couple of things. First of all, since I've been doing these, there's been one person who was invited and publicized who didn't show up. And I don't want to tell you what happened to that guy. I'm telling you, it's not good. At any rate, I have to say too, just briefly, like I almost considered canceling this reading just because of all the crazy shit that's going on right now. It's unusual. Usually we have a little space between seasons, but we went straight from plague season into riot season. Still have my plague decorations up. Haven't even taken the plague tree down yet. But I thought it's still important to do this. And, the show must go on, right? So maybe now more important than ever. And I also just have a feeling that the people who are going to read tonight are going to have something to say about what's going on in the world. All right. So without too much further ado, Maggie, I can ask you to unmute. Can you unmute yourself? I'm going to put you in the spotlight.
Sure. Am I going first?
Yes, you're going to go. Wait a minute. Are you going first? I don't know. I thought Bill was going to go first. I'm confused. Let me make Bill first. Sorry about that. I'm confused. All right. I'm putting Bill in the spotlight. And he's on. Okay. All right. So, William, aka Bill Considine's full-length play Moral Support ran at Medicine Show Theater in early 2019. The Operating System published his volume of produced verse plays, The Furies, and a chapbook of poems, Strange Coherence. Fast Speaking Music released a CD of his poems with music, An Early Spring. And with that, I am happy to introduce William Considine.
Thank you, Bernard. I did choose some poems that reflect on contemporary circumstances. And the first one is called Darkening Hour. Under, around, above a swaying chandelier, daubs on ceiling and walls are shadows from each lit bulb. That's a memory of parties on livelier nights elsewhere. Here, the inset ceiling lights leave dim aqueduct arches. Evening, and inside the current radiating light, home may yet waver, flicker, and fade. The hanging shaded lamp sheds one large circle overhead, a pale moon with edges in penumbral blur. The march of darkness has come around again, with no good answers, only patterns to ponder. What does darkness represent? Deeds beyond what lights allow? Only where the hours went? Or what encroaches now? On the same theme, this is called Light Fall. What shuttered windows will not tell is whether tossing thunder slept, while light cracked, shattered, and fell. Within, where children dwell, restless dreams like raccoons crept, where windows will not tell. Wake up, dear child, say all is well. Vows of solemn silence were kept, while light cracked, shattered, and fell. Outside are vacant lots to sell. How hard or long the absent wept, shuttered windows cannot tell. Unuttered darkness does repel broad vision. We have to respect the way light cracked, shattered, and fell. Still, dreadful silence will dispel and stir in the night to expect darker truths that windows may tell, now that light cracked, shattered, fell. This is called A Fool Speaks to Power. If you want real power, Nuncle, bring back crime. Start by claiming there's a terrible crime wave, whatever. Make poor migrants criminals in hiding, unable to turn to the police. Make up new crimes and force the obsolete. Marijuana, Nuncle, such a haze, so fraught for paranoia. Lock them up. To be king, you must have prisoners. Disrupt whole communities, black, brown, white, and liberal. Spy on their habits and personal connections. Make them furtive. Make them know they're being watched. Then charge and ruin them one by one. When they came for the marijuana smokers, they pointed out it's against the law, so I could do nothing. A huge population in private prisons. Did you know that you can own a prison in America? I heard last night of a guy who owns a chain of women's prisons. They can work for $1 a day. Yes, today. Pure profit on prison labor, exempt from the Constitution's ban on slavery. They're off the streets and cannot vote. Their communities are yours, reduced. That will keep them weak enough to be subjects of a bitter fool, Nuncle, a mean and mighty king of mere losers. Make a lot of them. Make them your base, a plinth for the statue of one superstar. They can build it and pay you with their lives. This next one riffs on the Statue of Liberty poem by Emma Lazarus. It uses the same rhyming words. And hers was called A New Colossus. This is called Not a Colossus. Under circling skies, oceanside land cracks open like a watershed door, inward for a refugee's urgent hand, to natural harbor, a home to breathe free. Liberty still holds up high a flame of green copper oxides. A few poor, tattered, skeletal piers remain to frame airy memories of a welcoming shore. An orange obesity of fraudulent fame now struts and shouts to loom larger than she who calmly still carries liberty's name. The awful clown stretches to pretend to stand tall, shakes his fists and rants at you and me, but down he shrinks with every cruel command. Thank you. Our song. Memories of the day's outrages cut sharply as we fade into sleep. What we leave behind still matters. We can't regret a world so strange. We sing like a rebel army marching through a village to sirens and applause. I grind my teeth, you stir and toss. We murder our fathers with loud guitars. We only awaken to what was lost and clamor in darkness for a past before the fascists came, reclaimed. Strum your banjo, I'll string a fiddle. The tune evolves, a clarion call, a tender call, to start a day again in the right key. This is called Live as a Poet by Example to Create a New World. It's an ambitious poem. Can an old man live a new way, become a new man of the next age, an example and change agent, a guide to self-discovery and fundamental change? Perhaps through making humorous quips and eccentric puzzles? That sounds like ego whimsy, strutting all dressed up in youthful foppery, red curly-toed shoes, hair dyed black, belly corseted tight, gleefully rushing to rendezvous with not the luring seductress, but robbers who beat and strip him, leave him to the kicks and mockery of all his neighbors. What an amusing end to Psyche's dream magic. No, that won't do. That's farce, not poetry. Instead, perhaps, just cook meals, do the laundry, serve. Yes, that's it. Do the former housewife work and be proud. Serve a plate of roasted greens and seared salmon. V. Bread bakers, bed breakers. Shocked in the V of a bed just broken, in close embrace agree, though only laughter spoken. Fallen so low, the mattress may be steep, but squeezed together so, on we go, and drop into sleep. One plus one. Tango passion, hambo, bone hip, I vote for you. You peel me open to call out fresh nutrients and sear them in a large oven-proof pan. You pour me into your pie of the day. Enjoy whatever you might find to like in me. Others have and have moved on. Their hunger lingers and burns through nights as I sweat. How pale I was as one of two, and then two others. Now I come up with the sun in sober arrogance, all shining and smiling like a just world, with jokes and joys to share over time. Now we are one and can see through our clothes. Comic book ads for X-ray glasses have nothing on us, as solid in our solitude as sated panthers. We shared a quilt. We shared a lightweight summer quilt made of silk, soft and smooth. It draped our embraces, flowed over every contour. An open window let a breeze pass over us. By late September, the quilt was too light, air cold, wind turning harsh. A cotton comforter covered us with bulk and weight, a bulwark against airborne elements, our envelope, our slit we fit within. For a few weeks, we kept the window open a crack, then closed it tight. Under heavier covers, we lay together to sleep close all the nights of month through winter. When you must go again, to the border again, and beyond, to the border problems, our place is still here, ready for your return. How much time do I have, Bernard? Is there time for another one? I'll just keep going. What a sun god sees. The sun sees more than light, sees all it feels and frees, constantly becoming primal turmoil. in mass ejections of ion waves on outreach vectors far into nothing. Within its plasma's twisting grasp, metal and glass within its plasma's twisting grasp, metal and gas globes always shine, exposed. Planets flit like gravity-trapped gnats adrift in solar wind. A few wear glitter. The sun's charged dust streams past them like comet tails and dances in aurora crowns. Milky skim half covers a deep blue stone, a swirly with green and brown trace elements. It rotates under vapors that veil lands and seas. When clouds wide as continents pass on, dry lands lay bare and beige, a scorched mirror, reflecting solar turbulence, flares, and storms as an inert wash of one glaring color. Under crumpled mountains in parallel ranks, deserts cook a cream soup with spillage unstirred, soured curds and whey, baked scum as overdone sun, an old offering. But the sun god sees no night, not one glimpse of cities lit in darkness, in cellular patterns of nodes and neuron pathways. Never where we settle and shine with our backs turned, spinning our own ways beyond him. Yet ultimate electromagnetic power is his. From every neon and fluorescent night we soon return, impelled to face him where he writhes and pulses, unrelenting. I went from darkness to the sun there. Is that my time? Thank you.
All right. Thanks, William Considine. Let's see if I can unmute you. Figure out how I can use this damn thing. All right. Yes, you can unmute yourselves and clap vociferously now if you'd like to. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Bill.
All right, William Considine. And our next reader, this thing's going all over the place. Gosh darn it. All right. Oh, did I get you? Yay, I did it. Yay. Yeah. All right. Our next reader, I'm going to mute everybody again.
Okay.
And I'm probably going to mute you too, Maggie.
Okay.
No, I don't want to. But now, you know, they updated this dumb thing. All right, now you can unmute yourself, I think.
Yes.
There we go. Great. So Maggie Dubris is a writer and composer who worked as a 9/11 paramedic from 1980 to 2007. Pronounced 911, I guess. Her books are WillieWorld from Cuz Editions. Hey, Mike DeCapity. Skels from Soft Skull Press, Weep Not My Wanton from Black Sparrow Press, and In the Dust Zone, Centre-Ville Books. Her latest book, BrokeDown Palace, is now out from Subpress. And here she is, Maggie Dubris.
Thank you, Bernard. I really appreciate you asking me to read, and it's an honor to read with Bill and hopefully with Andrei if he shows up. I'm not reading anything especially chosen for the times. I feel like probably everyone who's watching this has the same feelings as I do about it. And I just hope, I think we're in times of great change, and I hope the change is one that we direct that's for the better. So I worked for a long time as a 911 paramedic for 25 years. From 1980 till 2007. And a lot of it was at a very poor hospital called St. Clair's in Midtown. And the book I'm going to read from, which is BrokeDown Palace, is basically about that, you know, about working there and what the times were like. And I'm going to do something a little different than I usually do. Today, I'm going to read, I interviewed a lot of people. When I wrote this book, I just went and I would take the train to wherever they lived and talk to them. And they're people that mainly that I worked with and who went through those years with me. So I have a lot of quotes in the book, and this time I'm just going to read the quotes. So they would be, let's see if I can find one. Okay, so see how there's something on the side? That would be the quote, like this. So that's how the book is structured. BrokeDown Palace. In a flashbang of color, this is what I remember. 1988, summer, skating up 6th Avenue, dodging the trucks, and west on 51st Street. Night not yet fallen, asphalt radiating heat through the double doors into the smell of baked-on filth. Past Frank and Otis, two Skels I know from the street, tied into wheelchairs, drooling as they sleep off the afternoons drunk. Across the ER in my skates, Joe from security growling, "Maggie, how you doing?" like he always does as I whiz past into the ambulance room. Supplies stacked every which way, and the day guys, rumpled and sweaty, hand me a pointy hat they bought at the Renaissance Fair on their day off. Slow it down, slow it down. 2016. I took a class in field recording in the Sierra Nevada. The instructor told us that birds have a much more acute sense of time than we do. When he slowed down a sparrow song that just sounded like a high-pitched motor at normal speed, it suddenly became an intricate, perfectly timed melody. Crickets are the same. That insect buzz turns into an exquisitely tuned choir if you turn it down enough, if you slow it down enough. We live too long. Maybe I need to slow down events to make sense of them, to see the connections, find the harmony. 1992, slow it down, slow it down. We don't have to punch in anymore. The time clock's broken. The bus is overheating. Our supervisor pops in to tell us that, contrary to popular opinion, the AC is working. We just don't understand the nature of air conditioning. It doesn't necessarily make the air cool, he explains. It only takes the temperature down 10 degrees. So, if it's 100 outside, which it is, it will be 90 inside the bus. Such is the nature of air conditioning. Then we hit the streets, driving west into the wide pink sky. Kids play in the rush of an open fire hydrant, spraying the ambulance with a bottomless tin can as we pass. Men slap dominoes onto a card table in front of the social club. A viejo sells piraguas from a cart on the corner. You have to order by color: red, green, blue, yellow. The street is my summer. Spanish music from an open window, melting tar and fried chicken and a jar full of ice. We park on 42nd Street. A French tourist stops to pose with us for a picture. A homeless man needs a cup of peroxide for his blistered feet. A jazz band sets up on the corner and starts playing, and half a dozen Chinese portrait artists get ready for another night of drawing white people from the Midwest. A cop leans against my door, chatting. He's stuck on footpost, hot in his uniform, hoping something will happen and hoping it won't, just like me. Slowly, the pink sky goes purple. The commuters vanish, replaced by hustlers and boys looking for fun and trouble. We sit in the bus with the engine off and the windows open, eating grapes, with no idea what this night will bring. 1988. St. Clair's is the only hospital I know of where it's perfectly normal for the patients to be physically brawling with the staff. One summer evening, I count 6 people flying backwards through the double doors, their clothes flying after them, to land in a messy pile on the sidewalk. They roll to their feet, cursing and spitting as Scat, the brick-like security guard, leans against the wall under the awning, street light glinting from his black sunglasses. September, 3 a.m. I mop out the back of the ambulance with a sheet, blinking my eyes against the stench of rubbing alcohol. A drunken man weeps on the curb, slowly pulling on his pants. Michael the aide walks by on his way back from a coffee run. "Don't cry, sir," he says. "Better men than you have gotten dressed out in front of St. Clair's." You could have been Mayor Koch, and if you said the wrong thing, Scat would drag you out by your ankles and leave you on the sidewalk. Fred Kavanaugh, St. Clair's Hospital paramedic. 1992. St. Clair's ER, 10 p.m. Jessie, the nurse, is triaging our patient who smoked too much crack. The phone rings. "St. Clair's Hospital, emergency." She balances the headset on her shoulder as she fills out the triage form. Uh-huh. Yes, we do. 52nd Street between 9th and 10th. Uh-huh. See you soon. She hangs up. "They wanted to know if we take Oxford." Shakes her head. "Honey, if you have insurance at all around this place, we're going to roll out the red carpet. You'll be the first paying customer this week." It was a total ergonomic nightmare. Stretchers wouldn't fit through the doors, and the waiting room was stuck in the middle of everything. Tom English, St. Clair's Hospital emergency room nurse. 1994. From the awning where icicles of broken glass dangled above the ER door, to the meat department style strip curtains hung along the antechamber. From the orange plastic chairs that served as a waiting room, to the annex filled with equipment that looked like it came from the Jetsons skypad, nothing about St. Clair's resembled a hospital. Even the morgue was substandard. Bodies had to be rolled through an outside alley to get there. As near as anyone can remember, it wasn't even air conditioned. Why would it be? None of the rest of the hospital had central air. They were going to put it in for a bunch of dead people? They were doing renovations, and they turned the ambulance bay into the waiting room. It looked like a crab shack on the beach. Bare plywood with knots in it. There were some bench seats there, but it was right next to the ambulance, so the place was pumped full of exhaust fumes. I'd bring patients in to wait, and they'd be, "What the hell?" It looked like a tree house. The hospital made no effort to spruce it up. Not even a sign that said, "We're under renovation." Chris Summers, St. Clair's Hospital paramedic. 1995, spring. Me. "Well, let's get you over to this chair and we'll take you to the hospital." Man with emphysema. "Which hospital?" Me. "Actually, we're taking you to the emergency room." Man with emphysema. "At which hospital?" Me. "It's a small neighborhood hospital where you'll be seen right away by a real doctor, not a resident." Man with emphysema. "Aha, you think you're taking me to St. Clair's." Me. "Yes, it's a small hospital right around the corner where you'll be..." Man with emphysema, gaining strength, it appears. "No, absolutely not, that hellhole. I know my rights. Take me to Roosevelt." Me. "Well..." Man with emphysema. "I had to lie in that horrible ER for 6 hours. Someone urinated on me. And then, when I got upstairs, they told me if I wanted a phone, I had to buy this cheap-ass thing they were hustling. You can take it home." You can take it home? Why the hell would I want to take it home? I have a phone. I'm not some derelict. He was starting to turn blue with all the yelling. Or maybe it was just the memory of his last visit to our homeland. We caved in and ferried him north to Roosevelt. A few days later, I related the incident to our supervisor, Mark, expecting him to be outraged, at this latest slur against the hospital. "Oh," was all he said. "No," he nodded. "It's more sanitary." He couldn't muster even a trace of conviction in his voice. We picked up an Asian tourist who had a list of hospitals not to go to. St. Clair's was number 1 on the list. Sandy Berkowitz, St. Clair's Hospital paramedic. The incurious mind. I always wanted to be a part of history, but now that I am, I can't remember why. The attack on the Trade Center was a cleaver, splitting my life in two. Everything before was dreamy and slow. Everything after jerks through a haze of smoke and fear. I used to be able to catch hold of my feelings from the past, reel them into the present, and feel them again. I can't do that anymore. My life has turned into a story, so I search for stories. Mother Alice, Maggie Owen, me. All the years I laughed and flirted and rolled my stretcher through a house that was already furnished, and I never wondered how. Then one afternoon, I came home to find an eviction notice nailed to the door. At last I stood still, and in the stillness my wonders wheeled in. I wonder who built this place. I wonder what hand chose this odd lamp, that particular shade of yellow for the walls. From whose desires did my life spring? If I can only find the story and tell it well enough, all those lost feelings will be back again, as bright as they ever were. That's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Maggie
Thank you,
Dubris. And you can now unmute yourselves and clap and scream and whistle and hoot and holler. Woo! All right, that was great, Maggie. Thank you. All right, now I got a hot tip. I'm going to check it out here. Let's see. Uh-oh, hold on. This thing moves around. Uh-oh.
Andrei is here.
Andrei's here. He's.
I'm in the iPhone.
You're in the iPhone. Nope, that's Jeff Wright. The damn thing keeps. All right, hold on. I'm going to mute you all. I got to mute you all because otherwise, like I'm trying to click the names over here. And as anybody says anything, the names move up and down. And now we got Jeff Wright. No. There he is. All right. And you can unmute yourself, Andrei.
There you go.
There it goes.
Sorry about that. I don't know where time went.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't know you were here until somebody alerted me that you were lurking as the iPhone.
Yeah, my name is iPhone.
My iPhone comes to every meeting. He's very fast, you know, it's great. All right, Andrei Codrescu is a Romanian-born American poet, novelist, essayist, screenwriter, and commentator for National Public Radio. He is the winner of the Peabody Award for his film Rhodes Scholar and the Ovid Prize for Poetry. He was the Curdy Distinguished Professor of English at Louisiana State University from 1984 until his retirement in 2009. Without further ado, here is Andrei Codrescu.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the Ovid Prize in the COVID era. I just opened it up to some works that were written recently. So time, what else? When he was 20 years old and came to New York, David Ross was looking at paintings at MoMA, and his Italian friend said, "In New York, there is no time." Yes, you can say then that time had been suspended, but it was metaphorical. The city never slept for anyone who wanted to do something at night. I was working the night shift too, until 1970. When I went to San Francisco and found mornings fresher for having slept the night. Art is what artists do with the night. In the years of amphetamines and sex, night was its playground in New York. In San Francisco, the ocean and the fog took art to nature which prefers mornings for opening its buds and breathing. In Italy, where I lived next, there was little distinction between day and night. I preferred night in Rome and mornings in Naples to hide from tourists. An artist, I reasoned, somehow was not a tourist. An artist worked. The Philistine tourists in Rome saw in the morning the art I made at night. The lazy tourists in Naples saw art beginning in the afternoon. From 1965 until 1983, everyone had a hangover and art was palliative. The cure for artists was art and the zoo. When I lived in Baltimore, I often spent the night drinking in the company of Anselm Hollow, and in the morning we went to the zoo. The animals there healed us. They looked on us with compassion and without judgment. Compassionate zebra, kind, furry, medium-sized beings, darling elephants. For artists, every city kept a different time, optimal to their flowering. Now time is a jello. We're all embedded in everywhere on the planet. The jello wobbles in a nauseating succession of hours, days, months, years that do not inspire anything except decay. I'm in New York, where everything was once urgent, but now it's not. The vigor of morning is lacking, and so is the fever of the night. The rats, who have been here forever, own the night and the day. Behind lit windows, the masses make neither art nor love. They eat carbohydrates or exercise muscles that nobody appreciates. Art does not like the night here or the day. How selfless we were in our time. What we made was not about us. It was about the human world. Next year, the humans will starve for meat, but also for free concerts in the park. When they come out like frenzied rats, only music will hydrate the dryness we suffered in quarantine. The only thing dry will be police nightsticks cracking our heads for being so happy as to break the law. Even the whoosh of bullets through the flesh of our bodies will be sweet music when they return time, day and night, to us. I will make art when I see you again. There won't be any revolution, but a lot of real estate for me to make my hours. Now, I wrote this before the streets filled with demonstrators. I was in quarantine, and I was thinking about going out, and all of a sudden, Trump was talking about opening America, and then New York got open by thousands of people. It's big. It's open right now in Queens. There's a demonstration going on outside, so you may hear police cars. So yeah, that's one way to open things up. It's very good. So these are the rain, which I also wrote this before the demonstration and so on, but it's called Rain in New York. It says it's raining in Queens like it rained in Verlaine's Paris. Not on the roofs that are too high, but on the few cars swishing by. On the potted plants on balconies looking on other towers. The towers of New York are sad. The bricks weep history. It's raining on the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor. She's weeping for the liberty that is her extinguished torch. You can make out the spikes on her head, lost in the fog. Two Emmas dancing there, Emma Lazarus and Emma Goldman. Imprisoned in our homes, if we have one, we wake to the news. The rich have tested positive and are hiding on their islands. They left the masses in the desolate rain, forlorn and sick. Anger congeals a ball of iron that will make a dreadful sound. When we are free to roam again, to organize and chant, we'll have no more of their interest rates, money, thefts, liens. Erase them from the blackboard list. Instead, their crimes. We'll hang traitors from the lamppost on a gray, wet day like this. Nothing is more melancholy and more true than rain in Queens. This was before it all actually it did happen. It's big in the avant-garde now, it's like big about 3 seconds. ahead of what is going on, you know. So not that I'm in the avant-garde, but that's this is a poem called the New Man. I've been reading Walter Benjamin in a book called Reflections, and he was in Moscow in 1929 when the Soviets experienced this sort of brief period called NAP, which was a kind of free market, peasants selling stuff, chickens and cheese and stuff, and things were great. Socialist realism hadn't yet been imposed as a must for artists and writers. Anyway, with Walter Benjamin in Queens, you can't make a new man, but you can kill old ones. Walter Benjamin in Moscow, 1927. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay, you can make a new man, but you can kill old ones. Walter Benjamin in Moscow, 1927, noted posters exhorting the masses with the slogan, "Time is money," attributed to Lenin, the only god the lazy Russian masses pretended to listen to, but did not, no matter how big Mayakovsky made the letters. New man apexed in Metropolis. Then the execution of prototypes was on. Lenin, like Chernyshevsky, asked, "What is to be done?" Tramways, sleds, steel factories, babies, breast milk, pioneers. Lenin and the new man capitalized themselves even in this poem thanks to their monster babies, spell check and autocorrect. Benjamin went to Moscow at the right time or just in time to escape being an executed prototype or frozen in the tundra. His timing served him by not being in New York either in 2020. A lucky man, he wrote his thoughts and executed himself. He was the new man, after all, not a Leninist, not sci-fi, a free man. And let's see, I'm just going on here to, oh yeah, this is a very depressed poem from after about 3 weeks of this stuff. I was looking out the window at my, it's called Love Song, and it begins with this quote that all the doctors know: "Pneumonia is the old man's friend." Pneumonia as the old man's friend was that for ages, and it was nature suffocating you with her own hands. "My time has come," the old one said. "It is my turn." History is an uninterrupted row of disasters that kills with abandon and with rage generations. We rightly mourn the young, but in old age we know that the clock of the body quits keeping time. Until recently, that is, when our minds understood our bodies better and began to keep the old clocks ticking until the rooms were full of us and air hard to breathe. Oh, thinkers, scientists, tinkerers, and entertainers, longevity creators, all, we thank you for keeping us here, bored and dismayed and full of fear. The beyond is overpopulated, and you never know what a reconstituted cadaver might become: a feather, a worm, or a vampire. If you are lucky, what is you will contribute form in the soup. The young will miss us until the will is read. Personally, I write sonnets, so they'll say, "He said." I am still here as the plague rages. There is a doctor in my bed. Well, there was the time shows in Brooklyn, but she hates my generation, but likes me for some reason. My generation was an ideology of naked, angry youth. We left behind some language and found a common thread. Let us leave now. We did our damage. It is an alien season. Well, you know. Then I cheered up a lot when I saw, well, actually, this is from the same period, and it was when those guys that needed haircuts came up with machine guns in South Carolina and carrying signs that said, "We need a haircut." That was before the "We Can't Breathe," which is obviously a much wider and larger cause. So this is called "I Need a Haircut." Man with a map of Poland on his bald head dissolved the Soviet Union. A man with an orange wig is starting a civil war under the slogan, "I need a haircut." A hair curtain fell between generations east and west long before the curtain fell. The day the Beatles released Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the great hair rebellion grew for decades like kudzu. It took 3 decades of tanks in Prague and burning cities for bald men to accept defeat. And 3 decades more until the rebels lost their hair. Utopia surrendered in the barber chair. For millennia, you could tell men from women by their hair until you couldn't. For millennia, you could tell aristocrats from servants by their hair until the guillotine put an end to that in a rather crude way. Hairstyles of Egypt wrote Egyptian history until the Greeks took up the torch with the hairstyles of the gods. Empires fell like hair under the scissors of the cosmic barber. Each decade brings with it its signature of hair. The barbershops of history will never be deserted until bald men in power admit defeat. History will not end as long as people look in the mirror to see if their ideas match their hair. A man with a map of Poland on his bald head dissolved the Soviet Union. A man with an orange wig is starting a civil war under the slogan, "I need a haircut." Look for wigs, masks, and guillotines as the next subject when we are done with hair. Yeah, well. And I'll read one more poem, I guess. I just did. I read that one. And this one is, well, you know what? If I don't know, I'll read it. Okay, that's the same poem. Okay, that's it. That's all I can find.
All right, Andrei Codrescu. That was awesome.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks.
I'm going to try to unmute everybody. And you need 3 hands to do this fucking thing. Here we go. And yay, now you can unmute yourselves. Yay. All right, Andrei Codrescu. Awesome. All right, so thanks to all our readers tonight. William Considine, Maggie Dubris, Andrei Codrescu. Let's give a hand to everybody. Fantastic.
To the best.
And we'll see you all on YouTube soon. I don't know if I'm going to keep on doing these. It's getting tired. Should I keep doing them? One more, maybe one more. I don't know. It's like things are opening up. I don't know if it's necessary anymore. And lots of people are doing them now. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, but you're there and we're here.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like this couldn't happen
somewhere.
This couldn't happen IRL. I mean, it could, but it's not.
All right, good point. Point taken. All right, I'm convinced. I'll keep doing it.
I mean, if you have a problem, do it less, you know. But you should still, you know.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What did I want to say? Hey, look, that's me. Oh, look, it's Anton. Wait a minute. Where's me? Hey, what the hell is going on?
Lily.
I'm trying to make myself the Rolodex. It doesn't work anymore. Oh, he's naked. Oh my God. All right. I'll see y'all next week. Oh, I wanted to say that I'm doing a reading. How about that? Jeff and Sanjay's series. When is it? Is it the 12th, I think? There'll be rip-snorting tales of ribald badinage, I promise. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Thank you, Bernard.